Right, here we are. Hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. Guess who I am with here? Cody, the Jenny guy.
Oh, I have to wave on this side. My arm.
Yeah, you got to do it backwards. You got to do it backwards. So, yeah, I've been on a road trip for the last 5 days, just kind of taking some me time and doing some resetting. And knew I was coming out west, wanted to go see the mountains. And I thought, let's just get down to Cody because he's got a brand new machine hanging back here.
Yeah.
So y'all say hi to Cody. And we're going to talk business tonight because I only have my laptop. I don't want to dive into the VECTRIC software tonight, just where I'm at. And just want to talk about business. But I do want to say some hellos. So there's Jetty. Talked to Jetty on the phone a couple times.
Nice.
Yeah. And Barry. There's Jeff, Windy City Smokers. He makes that cool bourbon smoker.
He's killing it.
Yeah, Garrett. There's Gary. Gary, he's on all the time. Hi, Ellen, Ralph, and Anthony, Warren, and a bunch of other friends. So yeah, it's hot down here. When my temperature gauge in my car is reading 109 degrees. We're down near Phoenix. So
well, and I was telling Garrett, like, he came at the right time because last week we had a huge haboob come through, and like it was raining like crazy, and I got this like dust alert warning on my phone.
Oh, really?
And so I go outside and I open the door, and there's just this huge like wall of dust just rolling through Phoenix.
This dust storm was coming through.
Huge dust storm.
Wow. But
it's like I see that and I get kind of excited and welcomed because I know behind that curtain of dust it's like 30 degrees cooler.
Okay.
So yeah, it was nuts. You missed all the fun, exciting weather.
Hey, well, at least I didn't get here when it was 120 degrees. So anyway, yeah. So your questions, we're going to talk business, and it's a really good time because Cody and I have talked a lot over the last few years about business and his journey. So we can talk a bit about that stuff. So as far as questions, make sure you put question marks in front of your questions, and Julianne will star those. Liberty is not here yet. Julianne, I'm going to bring you out. So here's the goddess that keeps everything under control at IDC Woodcraft, minus the other one that also keeps things under control. Mm-hmm. But if it wasn't for these two ladies, IDC Woodcraft would be a very challenging business.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and you're actually kind of starting to learn that.
Oh my gosh!
Finding the right people to fill these spots so that they can take that load off, so you can grow the business. That's what it's all about. So Julianne, let's see. We're going to be doing a giveaway tonight, folks. So keep that in mind. And we are going to cut off at like 9:30 sharp Eastern Standard Time because the ladies need to get up early. They are flying out tomorrow morning. Yeah. They're flying to Austin, Texas. And I was actually thinking of driving there. Can't read that. Julianne, what's it say?
No, it's just a comment about the festival.
Okay. It's a 15-hour drive, and I'm still taking my time.
Yeah.
It's as a business owner, and I'm sure he feels this. There are times you just got to pull back, and when you're running pretty much solo, you can't do that. Mm-mm. All right, and so it's as you're growing, you run into that spot where you only have so much gas. You only have so much gas, and you're gonna hit this. They call it the valley of death. You have these as your business progresses. You're going to hit this peak where there's too much and it starts to bury down, and then that's when your mindset starts to drift down. That's when you realize I need help. And that comes when you start feeling like you want to quit and give up. So anyway, so Julianne will be in the background. Any links that need to be provided, she will throw them in the description of the video and in the comments. The live comments here. What else, Julianne? Anything else?
Nothing that I can think of right now.
All right. Well, if anybody's going to the Texas show, make sure you find the ladies. And I think they got their itinerary planned out for their fun adventure as well. So I'm really glad that I can provide that opportunity for them.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm really sad that I can't go. So it's funny, I'm actually going to be going to Texas Friday, but we're going to go visit some family in Del Rio. So, but,
in the same state.
Let me shut off that air real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really cool. I haven't watched it run yet because I only got here like an hour ago. So I was busy setting up the computer and we were doing sound checks and a last minute connection issue. But I'm looking forward to watching this machine run, and we'll do a video on tool making. So I think everybody will find that really fascinating.
Cool.
So when you guys, what time do you have to get up tomorrow to fly out?
Probably like 4:45 because the ride is gonna be here around 5-ish. So yeah, fun times.
Okay.
I'll need caffeine.
Yep. All right. So we'll be doing a giveaway, and we'll cut off at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time sharp. So we're gonna put Julianne in the background. Thank you for keeping things going, Julianne. And let's just make sure you and I get kind of in the camera, so we're not cut halfway off like that. So I was thinking about this on Monday. I wanted to really talk about business because I've been on a business journey. You've been on a business journey. And even though our businesses are very different from at least the product, the companies we serve and provide, even though those are very different from CNC types of projects, the concept, the business concept is always the same.
Right.
All right. And you sell other stuff. You've been in business with your Shapoko. You were selling pistol grips. You made pistol grips. Give your backstory so we can kind of set the foundation here. I'll give you a little bit of my backstory as well.
Yeah. So kind of, I mean, how far back do we want to go? So I'll start with like my maker journey because
let's do the maker journey.
Right.
We'll do a 5-minute to 7-minute cliff note kind of thing, and
we'll give you the Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I've always kind of been like a maker, like at heart. I was kind of sharing with Garrett earlier today when I was a kid, I actually had a bad heart valve, and so I wasn't allowed to go play on the playground with all the other kids. And so when it came time for like recess, when I was like in 2nd, 3rd grade, I had to go to the nurse's office, and all I did is I played with like Lincoln Logs, Legos, and Ninja Turtles.
So you had to stay like real mellow.
That was my life. Well, yeah, so my heart was basically leaking blood back into it. So my heart had to work twice as hard to get to all my extremities. And so, so when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to play sports. I wasn't allowed to go to recess. As I got older, I actually had open heart surgery. They put somebody else's heart valve in me, and I'm completely fine and healthy now. But as I was a kid, I feel like that really started my journey as a maker. Okay. Because all I could do was just build Legos and Lincoln Logs, and I loved it. I really did. And then even as I got older, like I was raised by a bunch of cowboys on ranches, and me and my cousins, we would go out and we would build forts, and like we had the baddest forts ever. I remember we built a 3-story tree house, like
3-story.
Yeah. And we were like little, like 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids. We actually, my buddy, his parents were building a house, and we would go steal lumber from their house to bring to our tree house. And so that's kind of like where I started. So like my roots, I feel like I've always been a maker. And so as I got older, when I was in high school, I took welding classes at Yavapai College. And I finished the entire welding course that they had to offer before I graduated high school. And so I landed a job as an aerospace welder at 17.
Wow. That you have to be certified for that.
Yeah. Well, so kind of sometimes it depends on the business and the type of work you're doing. Okay. Because when you get into that, there's like NADCAP quality requirements, and all of the NADCAP quality requirements for like aerospace, that is all dependent on the business. It doesn't matter what certs you get outside. Okay. So you can go to school and you can take all of these classes and you can get certified in TIG, MIG, arc welding, whatever you're doing. But all of that's kind of null and void if you get into aerospace and defense, because you have to retest specific to what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
Because there's different standards. So yeah, you have to be certified, but it's a little depends on what type of work.
Okay, interesting backstory. I like to do this stuff.
So that's how I got started. So I was working in machine shops like this one ever since I was a teenager. Started off as a welder. Shortly after that, I ended up taking over the welding department. And then they lost one of their key machinists. And so there was a need. And so I was like there, and I was, I guess, competent enough.
Yeah. So this is where you got all your kind of basic,
so
creating skills and machining
right.
skills. So when did the CNC start to come into play?
Well, so all of that was kind of transpiring, that's when I first started running CNC machines. They moved me from welding into CNC, and then from there into inspection, and then I became a quality engineer. Well, over the years, I stopped running machines as much, which I really enjoyed doing. And so my passion kind of followed me home. And I told my wife one day, I was like, you know what? I just want to build a robot in the garage. And so I bought a Bob CNC, which you
had a Bob's too?
Yeah, I had two of them.
Okay.
So I bought an E3, which was my first one.
It's a little 18 by 18.
Yeah, it was a little guy with about 1 million nuts and bolts. But it was fun. It was a fun project. I really enjoyed
putting that together.
Again, it was like Legos, but for adults. And I loved Legos when I was a kid. And so I built my first machine. And the next thing you know, people are like, oh, you have a CNC router. Well, can you make this for me? And can you make that for me? And so I'm like, yeah, sure. And it kind of turned into a side hustle. And so that machine paid for like the next machine, which paid for like the next machine, which paid for I've had like 6 different CNC routers.
Okay.
I've had 2 Bob CNCs, I've had 2 Shapeokos, and 2 Onefinities.
Okay.
So all of that kind of like, that's what started my journey, is I just wanted to build a robot in the garage. And then through happenstance and just knowing other people, and they're like, hey, can you make this for me? It kind of turned into a side hustle. And as I was doing that, because of like the people that I knew and the people that I was around, and this is something that I'm sure we'll probably touch base on, especially like business, because probably the one thing that's been the most successful like thing for me in business is those partner relationships with people.
Yes.
That led from like one opportunity to another opportunity, and just being there and being willing and being dependable and reliable, like all of those things, like that's what
things
really
to take note on.
That's what really led to, well, everything that you see here.
So it's really interesting. You've gone from a wooden machine about this big to now he's got this over $500,000 machine, right?
Yeah, I spent a lot of
just this one machine here. This is the one that makes CNC bits. And he just upgraded, so this is an upgrade to keep up with the needs. Yeah,
so this machine landed on my shop floor on Friday, and so I had to decommission the FX5, move my entire shop. Like, it was crazy. I have a small shop.
He's got a big laser sitting here. He's got his Onefinity over there. You've got it's a freestanding machinist grinder over there. You've got workbench. You got drums over there. You got a table over there loaded with bits. This station here, and you've got all that. That's all that had to swap and get all that stuff out of the way.
So all of that stuff had to move, and it was a lot of work, but it was good, healthy work. Like, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Even
it's
though
nice to step out of the stuff and just tinker.
So we got all that stuff moved out, and then the FX5 left the building, and then we brought the FX7 in, and then it just sat over the weekend, which was kind of cool. But at the same time, I really wanted to run it, but we weren't able to hook it up until Monday.
Okay.
So Monday we started hooking it up. We're almost done with the install. I still haven't ran a tool yet. So I'm hoping tomorrow I'll actually start making some Jenny bits. But it's pretty impressive. It's I still have a lot to learn.
But so we need to kind of backtrack, though, because this is where you've come to now.
This is where I've come
right,
to.
and it's dedicated. He's dedicated bit guy now, which through navigating all the various business things you've done, you've ended up finding this kind of niche here, which trying to serve. So you made gun grips. How did you end up with that?
Again, just kind of knowing other people in the industry. There was this company called Whiskey Made, and I used to make a bunch of like individual ice cube trays out of whiskey barrel wood, and I was making thousands of them.
Make one of those just
it was. I have some examples here.
Okay.
I think I'll show you.
They're cut out of bourbon barrel.
Yep. Bourbon barrel lids.
Okay, and they're little pockets, and you put ice in it and freeze it, or water in it, freeze it, and then you put the whole wooden piece in a glass of bourbon or whatever.
Yep, drop the whole thing into your drink. And then I've never tried it. I quit drinking like, gosh, almost coming up on 6 years, I think. So it's funny because I made.
Say hi to Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. Hey, Kyle and Greg. Looks like Greg's here. It's hard. So just so you guys know, I'm never on this side with Garrett before, and it's hard to see like all of the comments. So you do a really good job trying to keep up with that.
Yeah, there's Greg and there's Owen. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So go ahead.
Well, so I started working with that guy, just doing all of the whiskey barrel stuff, and he had like 3 other businesses. He did a lot of like. How did
you run into that one? So so what I want to orient this to is how do we end up getting these types of jobs? So one of the things with this bourbon barrel ice cube things, you were able to cookie cutter those things out and optimize that entire process.
Yeah.
How did you land that?
So with that specifically, again, it was just building those relationships with other people in the valley here. So at that time, I was a quality engineer, and I was invited to go to a lot of the ATMA meetings, and it was a bunch of small business owners, almost like a mastermind group. And so they would get together once a month, and they would go and have dinner and have drinks or whatever, and then they'd usually have like a keynote speaker come in. And so that's where I got exposed to a lot of these small business owners just here in the valley. And so just kind of networking and just
another key word, networking.
Yeah. So I got involved in that kind of stuff. And then one person introduced me to another person. And the next thing you know, I'm making thousands of whiskey barrel.
How did that tie together? What is the specific? So folks, you've heard me talk about Ellen, who's out here right now, right? And she was at a funeral parlor and mentioned it. And it's just like it clicked both ways. So how did it work with you?
Well, my wife probably gets super annoyed, but like I really love what I do. And so I like talking about what I do and sharing it with other people. And so the moment that I talk to other people who are like-minded about CNC machines or making 3D printing, lasers, whatever, like we just click, right? And so when you're in a room filled with people who are already like that, it was really easy just to start having those conversations. And then after I got to know a couple people, there were people who had need, and they had a store and they were selling stuff, and they lost somebody who used to make stuff from them. And then they're like, hey, can you maybe take a shot at this? And I was like,
did it come from like the store owner or the business owner, or did it come through
the
CNC
owner.
grapevine? Did they hear that you did this stuff?
So it was through that mastermind group that made the introduction with me and my buddy who owns.
Okay, so it was a third party that kind of third party CNC brother or sister that kind of helped that. Okay.
But I guess the point being is just being willing just to go out and meet people. And then the other thing too, like just being able to know like how you can come alongside somebody and like provide a need for them. Like they have a need and you provide a solution. You know, he was like, I got to make all of these parts.
So I just want to stop there, and I want to make a note. The whole thing about business is solving a problem. And it could be a very temporary problem, like spontaneous shopping, being at a show and someone is looking for gifts and you just happen to have the right gift. That's more waiting for the mud to hit you. That's being flung out there, right? But the more focused the problem is that you're working to solve, the more likely you're going to have something like this.
Well, and the other thing too is like know what you're good at. So, and it took me a while to figure out the stuff that I really kind of excel at. So I got my first Bob CNC, and then I started making some signs and other projects for people, which was cool. And it was
that's
fun.
the way to start.
Right?
So start making stuff, get experience.
Well, then I was like, hey, this is awesome. I'm going to make a bunch of signs that I think are cool and that what people would like. I'm in Arizona. There's a bunch of Arizona themed stuff, and open a little Etsy shop.
Cactus.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to Saguaro National Park tomorrow. You know my cactus story.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'll share it with you later.
Okay.
It was my big moment for me when I realized I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wasn't an engineer anymore. Right. And I was just sitting there, what do I do? And it was like, it hit me. It says, go to Arizona to look at a cactus. I had this cartoon cactus image in my head.
Interesting.
It just popped in my mind. And then later it's like I quit my job and I was packing up my house. I was giving up everything. That's how much I needed to shift.
Wow.
And when I'm wondering where the heck I'm going to go, I know I was going to travel. And then it just hit me, God just threw it at me. Go to Arizona and see a cactus. It was so stupid of an idea, but I had zero itinerary. So I said, fine, I'll go see a friggin' cactus. Right. That's a 2,000-mile drive, right? For me. And it took 5 months to get there. But there was a message in that. But it took giving up everything and keeping on following that, the call, the vision, which was just a stupid cartoon cactus. I'll finish this story a little bit later because it's such a cool story.
I'm intrigued. Definitely.
Yeah, I do want to say thank you to Doggone Production. So folks, for those who have, the ladies, Julianne and Liberty, they are going to the Texas Woodworking Fest solo. I am not going this year. I said, ladies, this is your deal. You are going to take it and make connections. Talk to people, see what challenges are out there. Let's get your side of it. And there's such a, I've said this a million times to you privately, but both of them are such a gold mine. Yeah. If one of them decide to give me a notice, I shouldn't say this because Julianne can maybe, she's on but in the background right now.
She's laughing right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting. What can I do here? Anyway, Doggone Productions, thanks for this. So what he did is he gave $20 to their Texas fund. So that, what's going to happen in Texas? Going to stay in Texas.
I think you guys are going to have a great time. I have family in Austin, and I've been there a couple times. And going from Arizona to Austin, like it's a nice change. Yeah. When the humidity is not too bad. Okay. Like if the humidity is bad, like it's not as fun.
Right.
But
all right. So anyway, so you don't make the pistol grips anymore?
No, I stopped making pistol grips.
Okay. So now we know how you made the things with the ice cube things out of trays. Was that going to a bar? Was it going to a store? Or
nope. That was meeting another business owner who had a product and he needed somebody to make it. Okay. So you were making wholesale and he was selling wholesale. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's that kind of like that? Well, that kind of goes, so going back to what I was saying earlier, I started making signs and putting them on Etsy and it completely flopped. Like what I thought was really cool, nobody else really liked, and I couldn't sell a single sign. And then I started.
Why do you think that was?
I think it was twofold. One, I don't think I did a good job like marketing. It was just kind of halfway thrown together. Just opened an Etsy shop, made a couple things, took some pictures on my cell phone, and like that was it. But at the same time, I was also working full time, and my wife and I, we were having kids. We had little ones in the house. And so it was like a side gig. I didn't really, really focus and hone in on it. But the interesting thing is as I learned, for me, like that wasn't my strong suit. Like making signs and selling them on Etsy, that wasn't my niche. That's not something that I was very good at. Right. But what I learned is I started meeting other people who were in the maker community, and I just started offering CNC services to other makers.
Okay, there's another way of doing it.
So there were probably 4 or 5 guys here in the valley who were making flags, wooden flags, and I would make all kinds of different unions for them, and I was just selling them the unions.
Okay.
They would bring me the wood already pre-painted, pre-stained, whatever.
You'd make the unions, and they'd put the rest of the flag
And then
together.
I would make the union for them, and then they would assemble their flag and then sell their flag.
Okay, so this is getting better as far as a business talk, because this kind of gets into some of the nitty gritty that we don't think about when it comes to business, and how things kind of migrate as you move along.
Yeah.
Right.
Case in point.
Yeah. Case in point right here. So you were making unions. How did you walk into that one?
Somebody reached out to me on Facebook.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, can you help me with doing like whatever? And I was like, yeah. And it turns out he lived like 3 miles from me. So we instantly became best friends.
Okay.
Yeah, his name's Ben. He's
and
awesome.
That came by virtue of community, CNC community, that you were kind of.
Well, so as probably most of everyone watching, like I'm in several different Facebook groups. As somebody to, before I was making bits, I was in those groups helping other people. You know what I mean? Whether they had questions about.
Okay, so yeah, here I've got to stop it again because the other thing about business, one of the big things is you can't be in business without making a profit.
Right.
But you can't have a successful, heartfelt business without the heart of a giver.
Yeah.
Right. So for those who feel kind of desperate, I gotta make something, make money because you didn't set yourself up, or so, it's that chase of money actually makes it a lot harder to actually make it, because your focus is in the wrong place.
Well, I agree, like 1,000%. And I've probably shared this with you once before, but like my wife and I, with all the stuff that I went through, like when I was a kid, and like the health issues, and then getting older, getting married, having kids, like, my faith is pretty strong. And I think one thing that really, really makes all of this special for me personally, so there's a Bible verse in Genesis, and it's chapter 1, verse 26. And it says, then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. And so because of that verse, like I am a firm believer that every single human being on the face of this planet has a God-given gift of creativity.
Yeah.
And the fact that I get to participate in like your God-given gift of creativity, that's what makes it special for me. It's not a router bit. It's like, man, I get to participate in something special that's unique to you or to that person that you're making it for. And that's what really gives me the drive to do what I'm doing.
That's a really cool philosophy, because so you could look at it, I'm making tools, or and what you just said, rephrased the way I just heard it, was you make the tools that give people the capability to express themselves in however they need to express themselves in a creative way.
Yeah.
And that's your way. But at the same time, you're creating, you're designing CNC bits, you're making them on the machines. I want to just stop for a second, see if we got some questions out there. So we do, and I want to just tap into some of that, and then we'll continue on with this.
Sure.
But also, folks, I'd like to get a little thought from your perspective. What are you gaining out of this conversation? It's a very different type of conversation when it comes to business, because this is really about the mindset, the willingness to learn, to get out, to network with people. Like I said, have the heart of a giver, have that broader purpose, which is you're not making tools to make a buck, you're making tools that give people the ability to express. And that's what my business is all born on. And my business is really born on, when we go into retirement, there's a sense of loss, right? And it's really hard to express that sense of loss, even to maybe a spouse, right? Because it's so deep. Because there's brotherhood. It's like kind of like those that in the services, military services, is a brotherhood that you just, without being in it,
right?
You can't relay it to someone, and you can't feel it to someone, right? And so this brings it back into the community, like you got. So WXX is saying, is the new machine a 7-axis?
Well, we have the X, Y, Z, A, C, P. So there's 6 axes right there.
Okay.
But you can't see it, but behind this door, there is like
the robot.
It's a Fanic robot, like it's a straight up real robot that has like 9 different axes. And it's nuts because you have the controller for the machine that you can see right here, but behind the machine, there's a totally different cabinet that has a controller for the robotic arm.
Robot, yeah.
And so it's like you're having to integrate these 2 systems into one for automation.
Okay.
So if you add all of the axes together, having like the machine and like the robot, it's I don't know, probably like 14 different axes that you're messing with.
That's nuts.
But the nice thing is a lot of this stuff is pretty straightforward, and they already have like macros pre-built into the machine. So it's not like I'm taking the robot and I'm not going, okay, I'm going to take the robot and go from here, grab here, go here.
As people, we can only work in the three axis in our head. When you start adding a fourth, you can work with a fourth in your head, but once it goes beyond that, we can't do it. I don't like to use the word can't. It's really
difficult.
Really challenging to do it. Okay, so Crudely, don't know how to pronounce that. So it's do you folks at IDC? Yeah, I got it kind of cut off there. Okay, so we still have the muscle chuck quick change. No, we stopped. We stopped selling that. There were some quality issues, too many quality issues with that. So, and we were unable to get that resolved. One of the things I do want to do is come up with a new concept for that and develop that. But that requires one of the positions that I want to fill, which is a tooling, sourcing kind of engineer type of person that can focus on sourcing product, doing some design work on product, the testing, and
like an applications engineer of some sort.
It's like, well, with Julianne, so she does all the ordering and is maintaining all that, but I'm doing most of the where are we going to get these things from, and then I hand it off to her. But she is she's in a position where we need that now, because she's it's me, her, Liberty, Richard, but she's like the main in the tier, because she's like the glue that's pulling all that together. I'm putting a feather in her hat, but she already knows that. Okay, from Sergeant Knight, what are my thoughts on Fox Alien Ouster 3S CNC as a starter machine? Do you know that?
I do. So the Fox Alien, I've never ran one. I have some friends who have them, customers.
It's a smaller machine, isn't it?
I think, it's a smaller machine. I think James Dean from James Dean Design had one.
Yeah.
What I like about those machines, like I started with a Bob CNC, right? I started with something as a project to see if I liked it, see if I wanted to do it. And it was great. And it led into what I absolutely love doing today. I think that there are several different machines like that you can start off with. The Fox Alien, is probably one of them.
I believe that has a smaller spindle on it, though.
I think it is itty bitty, and that's the thing. As long as you know what you're getting when you go into it, like that's the big thing. Like, if you buy a Fox Alien thinking that you're gonna do something that like my Onefinity can do, like you're lying to yourself, right? But if you do the research and you understand its limitations, and you're doing it from the perspective of like, this is a hobby, this is something that I like doing, then go for it. Like it's.
Yep. So if you're looking for a machine, here's where I want you to go. So Kyle, I don't know if he's still on here. So Kyle from Lunar CNC, he's got the VECTRIC training course. So if you have or getting VECTRIC, don't try to DIY it, because that's like that's the bread and butter up here to make everything work. So he's got a master course that'll teach you the VECTRIC, and he's got a good community. We will link that here, and he's got a free trial class that you can take. But he also put together a really cool website.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's called thecnchub.com. Julianne will link that. And there you can do comparison with all these machines. He put a lot of work into that
Yeah, it's impressive. Does he have Fox Alien on there? I don't remember seeing
I don't know
that.
if it's on there, but here's what I would say.
I think it's the probably the bigger.
Yeah, but here's what
brand.
I'd say with the Fox Alien. So, number one, if that's got the smaller spindle on it, it's only going to take 1/8 shank bits. It doesn't have a lot of power. Your RPMs, those generally go up to 10,000.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, and so it's strictly hobby,
I would say.
and you're not going to get a lot of aggression out of it. But to learn, it's inexpensive, and it's got a good sized community, so you get the support with that. Okay, so that's the thoughts on that. Okay, and we have Brian.
But I feel like I go back and forth sometimes because I'm like, yeah, like I started with the Bob CNC, but then you've heard that saying like, buy your second machine first. Like,
yeah,
like where do you like?
That's my philosophy. Is I've kind of changed that philosophy. So what I used to say is, yeah, buy your last machine first. All right, but I would say if you want to dip your toes, then you dip your toes, and that's your.
If you're going to Baskin Robbins, get the free little sample, see what flavor you like.
That's your smaller machine. You play around with it, and just know that if you like it and you really want to get into a hobby, you're going to upgrade. And so it's going to be like a temporary. But I do know people. I've talked to people who have the bigger machines, but they got a lot of little machines to do sub work on things like that too.
Did the Fox Alien machine come out with? Am I thinking the Genmitsu?
Yeah. So the
I think
Sanspar is the Komatsu.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Brian is saying I wanted to cut out some stencils for painting. Sorry guys, my eyes are a little challenged. Wouldn't O-flute work on plastic sheets? Maybe about 10 millimeters thick. Yeah. O-flute is the bit to work with.
Yeah. If you have access to a laser, man, I would laser everything that you can when it comes to stencils, because when you're using a
I would have to agree.
Yeah, if you're using a bit, you got to remember that if you're getting something detailed on your stencil, your internal radii is going to be the radius of your cutting tool, so you won't have sharp corners, right? Yeah. But if you have access to a laser, that eliminates a lot of those issues.
You said 10 millimeter thick, so that's pretty.
That's like 3/8 thick. That's pretty
like
thick.
3/8 thick. That's going to be more like a laser like this if you're going to cut it out. So that's more CO2.
Yeah, so I got a big CO2 laser. I have some like 1/2-inch acrylic around here. I made fixtures for this.
Right, but an O-flute bit will do the job for you too.
Yep.
So you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a laser just because we said that. The O-flute will do it. And we will link those here as well.
Or network and find other people, other makers who have a laser.
There you go. All right, Mark, is any tips on my business going down here in Australia? All right, so I'm going to say this. It doesn't matter where you are. There's always a need. And people are no different anywhere you go on the planet. We all have desire to create our own environment. It's in our own way. And we all have a desire to make our environments unique to us. So it doesn't matter in Australia or wherever. The one thing that does matter is more of a cultural thing. So in the U.S., for example, American flags are, they're gonna sell, but of course Australia is not going to work, right? But if you sell an Australian flag, it's probably not going to work either if they're not as patriotic about the flag. I don't know. So but there are things there that people want, and then you're starting to dig down into tighter things. Windy City Smokers, right? Just going into the bourbon barrels, and in my area, bourbon's a big deal. Big deal because it's the Bourbon Trail. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I love Australia. My machine came from Australia.
There you go.
Well, actually, I think they're based out of
Australia.
You
go. Okay, so just make CNC bit making machines, and you can sell them out here.
No, I think Garrett's spot on. I think there are different concepts and different like mindsets when it comes to business, regardless of where you're at or what you're doing. Really, it's just kind of knowing your audience. I think that's the biggest thing, regardless of what you're doing. If you take the time to really know your audience, that's going to help you be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that be in business or relationship with your family, like know your audience. It's going to help you to respond appropriately. And so if you have a customer that has a need and you have an opportunity to fill that need, you know, just being able to identify that and then come alongside them.
Going back to your Etsy store. And
Yes.
I experienced this too, and a lot of people will experience this on Etsy. You'll get out there, you put something on Etsy, and it doesn't fly very well. So there's a couple schools of thought here. In business, we are told this all the time from our mentors. If you're trying, it's actually not just the mentors. This is business talk through entrepreneurs groups. If you're trying to sell to everyone, you're selling to no one. Basically, if you're trying to sell to, if you're just making stuff because you want to make stuff, then you want to go deal with that?
No.
Yeah.
Come on in, Scott. This is Scott, everybody.
This is,
How you doing?
all right.
We're doing a YouTube live.
Oh, nice.
Yes. YouTube Live. Who's this?
This is my buddy Scott. Actually, Scott and I, we've worked together for years now. When I left,
So you own that section over
Yeah,
here?
yeah. This is
Yeah.
Okay.
he's my
All
shop
right.
mate.
Okay. That's how casual we're being today. So what was I saying? So if you're making stuff that you think is cool, like is what you did,
Mm-hmm.
and I did, and you put it out there, you're selling it for you. You're not selling it for the customers, right? So you'll buy it, but most other people won't. That's the big flaw in trying to do that. On the flip side, that's a lesson that you learned.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also learning how Etsy works. Etsy's a good practice platform. What do you, that's one of the things, but touch on that. What do you, you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one.
Yeah, well, and it goes back to like finding that what you're really good at. For me, Etsy was not that. I sucked at Etsy. Like it just didn't work well. But what I was really good at was building relationships with other makers and then being able to come alongside them. And as they grew their business, like my success was depending on their success.
Mhm.
So I did everything I could to help them become successful.
Yeah. So that's
And
the
then-
heart of a giver.
And then through
That's exactly what I do. That's philosophy. That's why I bring you on the lives. I bring Kyle. I bring Andy Bird. I bring other people because there's two things. Number one, I want to see you guys grow. Together, we can help the community.
Mhm.
Right? I love helping you guys grow. I love being a part of business journey, and I love being a part of the maker journey.
It is. Well, it's so much fun. And then, but again, it kind of supports kind of my whole philosophy on making, you know, and like just being a part of that creative gift.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. Identifying kind of what that niche is, and then just really honing down on what you're good at. And for me, it wasn't Etsy.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to find that. So in your case, my case, and anybody else who's tried it like Etsy and you tried to make things and they didn't fly, don't look at it as failure. That's one of the things that we can take on as, oh, I failed, right? And take it internally. And that's why we get mentors to help us see that it's not failure, it's practice. It's kind of like in sales, they say, you want to get as many no's as you possibly can get, because with all that practice, you're getting closer to yeses and more yeses. All right, so it's practice. Yeah, there's a second philosophy in that, and the way you tapped in it. Know your audience. And the best way to start is you're part of an audience. I was part of the Jeeper. Right. So I understood that audience. I knew what they wanted. And I made little Jeep key rings. I actually paid somebody to make a bunch on a laser because I didn't have a laser. And I tried to sell them on Etsy, sold like 2 or 3. It's total flop. We have an art show in town every September. It's coming up the end of September. I said, okay, I'll just put it up on the table, set up a table. I sold the crap load out of those
That's
things.
awesome.
Yeah, because Jeepers were in town.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I like, my grandkids came down and they wanted to like sell something. I said, okay, I'm going to step away. whatever you sell, you get 50%. They made like $80.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
for them. All right. Kevin is saying, Garrett, you have expressed concerns with the 80 millimeter spindle. I'm surfacing with walnut. And, would you recommend a 1/2 inch for this? Walnut and hickory.
An 1.5 inches.
Yeah, the 1.5 inch surfacing bit from IDC Woodcraft. So I would. So the 80 millimeter spindle, the concern I had was I first got it from my long mill, and the long mill just couldn't support it with the particular motors that were on it and the drive system. So there wasn't enough power going to the motors. Now that they have the SLB, the super long board, that can support it more, but I wouldn't, if I go back, I would not have gotten the 80 millimeter for the long mill CNC. And if you have a long mill, I don't recommend it. You can do the 65 millimeter. If you have the alt mill or something like the Onefinity, you can definitely do an 80 millimeter. And yes, I would go with the 1.5 inch with that spindle. It can. So being an 1.5 inch surfacing bit, there's a bit more workload being put against that bit because it's cut in a much bigger area. So yeah, I don't have a concern with it as long as you're on the right machine. Matter of fact, I'm upgrading my alt mill to the 2.2 80 millimeter because the 1.5 doesn't have the power that I want it to have.
Doesn't have like the horsepower to keep it.
Yeah,
going.
you got your 3 failure points of that will take down a machine or make it stop working. One is the drive system if the motors aren't strong enough to overcome the workload, the drive motors. The second one is the power of the spindle. If you're trying to do too much, and the spindle can swell. And the third one is the router bit itself. Right? Can the router bit handle the workload?
Right.
Right. So on the alt mill, it is the spindle. That is your weakest thing. So no, more power the better. Now I will say I was very happy with the Makita. The Makita, although it's not as accurate, I would always upgrade from a Makita trim router to a spindle. Its spindle system cuts so much better.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite upgrades is going from a Makita router to.
Yeah, if you're thinking of upgrading, we'll put PWN's link in there. I would, if you have the trim router, you will notice a distinct difference in cut from a spindle from any of the trim routers, and it's all due to the bearings. David is saying when app CNC carving correctly from about 10 inch X. Okay, I got to start this over. Z that drops 1/2 inch and ruined spoil board. Okay, so
What's the bottom half say?
No, sorry guys, I'm just reading the move from the spindle, bit spindle, and fair shake. Spindle one. What's GFCI?
That's like your GFCI plug.
Oh, okay. Oh, ground fault. Okay. She could error. So what I'm taking out is his spindle's drifting down.
Yeah. So when op CNC carve. I wonder when op CNC carving correctly for about 10 inches, and then an X, and then Y at 20 inches.
Okay.
And Z drops.
So one of the things is the Z spindle motor locking when it's not spinning, or when it's not driving the thing up and down. There's a setting in your controller where you can tell it when the motor's not moving, it will keep power to the motor to keep it from drifting up and down. Yeah, and that's going to be in your configuration.
That's with the alt mill?
It's not just the alt mill. It's all in GRBL.
Okay.
Right. So it's part of the firmware setup. I made a video about that a long time ago.
I haven't played with GRBL since Bob's CNC.
Yeah. So that could be that could be one thing. The other one is perhaps the weight of the spindle is too heavy. This is what happened with me with the long mill. It worked great with that 80 millimeter spindle for a while, then all of a sudden it just the motor couldn't hold it up anymore, and it would cut, and then all of a sudden it just dropped down. So, but I want to get back to business stuff here.
Is he using like, so I know he mentioned the GFCI, but if he's pulling vacuum, so I noticed like when I'm cutting a lot of MDF in the past, like I would get a lot of static electricity from cutting MDF.
Okay.
And especially on my belt driven machines, it caused a lot of like weirdness to happen. So maybe he could be dealing with that.
That could be that too.
Some EMI
You may
issues.
want to ground it. Make sure that you got the ground fault thing on it, but you may want to ground your spindle. Right? Is that they put a ground on the back?
Yeah. So what I ended up doing is I got an anti-static hose, and then I grounded my machine, and then I ground my shop vac. The other thing too, like using a shop vac, I feel like that made a lot of static
That
electricity.
will definitely make a lot of
When
static
I moved to like
especially when the air is dry.
Yeah, when I moved to like a jet dust collector,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that seemed to help a lot too.
Okay, so let's see what CAD Ericsson, what CAD CAM software are you using for the new machine for the bit profile? So you're talking the design software for that.
So the design software for the Anka is proprietary to Anka. So it's called, the program is actually called iGrind. And it's really nice. It's actually, I like it a lot. It's a conversational programming software. And so as you are doing your program, you break it down into different operations. So like my first operation will be digitize the tooling. So I'll tell the machine to go in there to measure my blank so it knows where it's at. My second operation is going to be like my fluting operation. And so that's where you go in there and you start grinding your flutes. And as you're building all these different operations, it's actually making a 3D model as you're programming it.
Okay.
So you can physically see what you're doing. It's not like you're making code for like a website that just has like if-then statements. Like it's a really nice user conversational software.
Okay. Yeah. Well, while I'm here, we'll do a video on this so we can dive into some of that stuff.
So it's cool too, because as you're doing it, so not only are you're programming it, but when you actually go to run a tool, let's say my OD is bad. Mm-hmm. Well, I can shut off all of those different processes that lead up to the OD and just run the OD.
Okay.
But the cool thing is it'll actually make a model of what that tool path would look like on just a blank by itself. So you can actually see what it's doing, and it's color coded. So to answer your question, it's proprietary to Anka. It's called iGrind, and it's really nice.
All right.
Still learning. I still have a lot to learn, but it's awesome.
All right, so Doggone Production is saying Etsy versus craft fairs, which is a better place to start? What's your thought on that?
Well, I can only give an opinion. I like talking to people. I like getting out. I feel like I make more sales and having conversations with people than sitting behind a computer screen. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I've never actually gone out and done a full show. I've gone with people who have done shows before, but I'm just more of a people person. I guess I'm more gregarious in nature. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, it's funny, my wife gives me a hard time. Like somebody will come to my house to sell whatever. And next thing you know, they see a machine in my garage and I've sold them a sign. Like I was selling to the salesmen who were coming to my house. But I just think it's because I enjoy that interaction and having those conversations. Yeah,
so I'm going to give you, there's pros and cons to both of these. So the pros on Etsy, it enables you to experiment. It costs 20 cents to put a profile on Etsy to do something. Of course, then you got to handle shipping and stuff like that. But it's a good place to experiment and study because there's a ton of people on Etsy, all right? And you can see what they do. We don't want to just plant ourselves on Etsy ad hoc because if we don't understand, you can put it on there, but you have to study what you're doing, right? Because people are visually based. So number one, pictures. and high quality pictures that kind of tell a story in some way. They have more of an emotional element to them. Someone I was mentoring, they making cutting boards, and there's a ton of cutting boards on Etsy, right? And there's two types of cutting boards on Etsy as far as image. There's either just plain cutting board, and then they're staged with fruit and stuff sitting on there. I says, you got to get above that. You got to tell a story in there. You got to get people into this. And so they had the glasses of wine. They had a hand touching the other hand on the board, things like that to add the emotional element. Etsy is a practice ground. They will take their cut, and deservingly so, because they are providing a service to you to enable you to put your products out there. Etsy is also, I hate to say it, but it's like going to a department store, right? Or maybe even a Walmart, because everything is on Etsy, right? And all kinds of price ranges. So you can play around with Etsy, but the good thing about Etsy is you can study what other people do to see what works and what doesn't work. You can see who's doing stuff well. You just visually go to it and say, that's a really good picture. That's a really crappy picture. You know, I saw one American flag was laying on the ground, right, on the grass. And the proper handling of the flag is it never touches the ground, right? So that's those are some of the elements. So you can study how people are doing. You can see how big of a niche is out there. You can see how people charge. But you don't want to gauge yourself against how they charge, because you can race to the bottom thinking, oh, they're charging less. No, you want to charge more, a lot more. That's what Jeff did with his bourbon smokers. He said, I'm going to be the most expensive one out there. And he just created a quality product that met that criteria. And so his demographic now is higher end people, right? But he took time to work at it. One of the drawbacks about Etsy is you are being put in front of people along with all your competitors. All right. Another thing with Etsy is don't put one product up in one posting. You put that one product up and make 20 different postings. Etsy is SEO based. So what that means, search engine optimization. So if someone's searching for a military gift for him, right? You're doing a flag. So you make a posting, military gifts for him is the title.
Right.
Right. And then the next one is, what else? Different variations you could think of with the flags. So what's another one? Memorial Day gifts or patriotic
Father's Day
gifts, patriotic gifts. You do your research. What are all different ways? Then you make postings with all these different. You're basically copying the posting. You're changing the title and some of the wording in it. Right. But that's it. Same picture, same everything. So that's the thing with Etsy, and it's like throwing mud at. It's like pointing to lots of different directions, but specific directions. Right, because you want to draw those people to you. The thing with Etsy too is you create your product post, you post it, it's online, it's all automatic, it's out there 24 hours a day. It's a bit less personal because people are ordering through Etsy, and you don't have what you get, which is the engagement with people. All right, and engagement is a big deal. So if you're doing on Etsy, you want to be able to engage with them somehow. You want to get the number. You want to talk to them on the phone. So Etsy's easy, but it's a good place to study. The craft shows, it's just like Cody just said. You're getting in front of people. You can actually start talk to a lot of people, especially if you're in a niche. If you're going to a Jeep craft show. Or gun craft show or something like that, you're in a niche. But if you're just going to a craft show and just trying to set up randomly, you're probably not going to do as good. You want to focus yourself into a craft show. And remember, there's some craft shows where people have the cheaper mentality. There's some, if you can get to one where it's high end, housing, the guy I used to mentor, I said, go where are the people that have money? And so he told me, he says, that's where you want to go. Make your cutting boards better and go there. And he was able to sell them for $250, $300 as opposed to.
It's funny you mentioned that. So this is actually kind of a little embarrassing. But like when I first started and I did some of that Etsy stuff, I remember we had a yard sale. And I was like, oh, we're going to have a yard sale. I might as well throw up some of these like signs or this flag that I made or whatever, thinking like, oh, people are going to come and check it out. Well, people who were coming to the yard sale were looking for yard sale prices. And they're like, oh, I'll give you $5 for that. And I'm like, that's like $40 in wood alone. What do you mean $5 for that?
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of interesting. And again, it goes back to knowing your audience, right? Like.
Yep, for sure. It looks like Ryan's on board.
Hey, what's up, Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan's Ryan from Cutting It Close. This guy's a master at Etsy, right?
Yeah.
He's made millions of dollars on Etsy. So, you know, he's got quite a few videos out there that talk about that. You know,
you had him on your show once before too.
Yeah, I played with Etsy. This man built his business on Etsy. Right. And he did a lot of experimenting too, and finally drilled into one item, and he got really good at it. Right. And that's what really made him take off. All right. So what else we got here? I got to zoom down my screen a little bit. All right. So we got Ron. This is Garrett. How long an MK2, long mill MK2 do I recommend adding? Okay, sorry. Hey Garrett, I have a long mill MK2. Do I recommend adding a spindle? Any issues? Yeah, we talked about that before. I would go with the 65 millimeter. It's going to be so much better than the trim router. Okay. Screaming Goat. I purchased a file for practice. After getting my alt mill set up, the project was successful. No broken bits or cuss words. Nice. The issue is it's a 4-inch piece. Is there a way to resize a purchased file? You should be able to resize any file you get with your design software. That should be built into your software. You bring in the file, and then you can just upsize it or downsize it. All right, Mike is saying 95% sure I'm getting an alt mill MK2 4x4, just starting out and want to buy second one first. Okay, second machine first. Yeah. Can't decide on the spindle. You have 240, 30 amp in your shop. Go with the 2.2 kilowatt. Just get the more powerful spindle.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had 2 of them. They're awesome.
Let's see what we got going on here. Just looking at some of the other general comments. Okay. I just like to go back and forth. So we got 2 little comment sections here that I'm looking at. One that Julianne starred, which are questions, and then the other is the regular feed. All right, Greg. He says he has Next Wave 520 with 80 millimeter, 3 horsepower water cooled, but have no problem surfacing with the 2-inch bit with inserts. Should I be having issues? If you don't have any problem with it, go. No. I mean, 2 inches better. The broader the bit, the better surface that you're going to get. Just because you're cutting more surface. I don't know what's your thought.
You just always got to keep your eye on the RPM.
Yeah, the RPM.
Because the
bigger it is, the slower the RPM has to be.
I remember when I bought my very first like 1-inch surfacing bit years ago. I tried using it, and man, I was going way too slow. And every time it stopped, I was getting a burned circle mark, and it was driving me crazy. So just keep an eye on your feeds and speeds. Make sure you're not burning up your bit or burning your wood, your project.
Yep. She's got it with the inserts, so that's good. What else? Of course, the bigger the bit, the more power, the more torque you need. So, And when I was doing machining, when we had our fly cutters, we got 6-inch cutters. In our shop, we'd go up to 12-inch cutters.
Freaking scary.
Yeah. We're cutting software. Actually, one of those 12-inch cutters, it was 1 inch thick, and it had probably 20 inserts around it. So it was designed to cut in between. Well, cut the pocket of the slot, but also the side of it.
Gotcha.
Right. But we had a homemade arbor holding it.
Nice.
That wasn't nice. The guy was making a cut, and the bolt dropped out. That thing dropped down and came at him. He put his hand like that, and it chopped up his hand, turned it into a hamburger, and got on his stomach. He had tracks all the way across the stomach.
Oh man,
it messed up
that's
his hand.
scary.
Yeah, that was not a good idea to make our own arbor. So I don't have any more questions sitting in the queue. So let's go back to some of the stuff you were doing. We've got about another 25 minutes. So we're going back to business. We talked a bit about your pistol grips. And so you got a little project here that you made. This is another business thing to think about, folks. This different angles. Let's just adjust my screen. Different angles that you can go to. So let's talk about this. So you want to show that, or
yeah?
Is it okay?
So no, I don't think it's a big deal. So in addition to So I don't do as much woodworking anymore nowadays because I'm so busy, making tools. And I've hit that point. So I'm still doing this all by myself. So I'm answering all the emails, taking all the phone calls, making all the tools, shipping everything, doing all of the janitorial, I'm doing it all. So I just don't have the bandwidth to do as much woodworking as I'd like to. But on top of that, I also do a lot of laser work. So I've had several lasers. Now I'm running a Thunder Nova 35. And I do a lot of commercial work for other businesses here in the Valley. One of them I do is for this company. It's called MicroQ. And it's I make face plates that go to temperature controlled shipping containers for veterinarian stuff. I think a lot of it is when people are breeding horses or breeding other animals. They'll take their samples and they need to send it from Florida to Nebraska or whatever, and it's all going to stay temperature controlled. The other thing too, which I thought was really cool, is believe it or not, the space shuttle doesn't have air conditioning. So when they're sending up science projects to the ISS that need to be temperature controlled, they go in his shipping containers. So I've literally made stuff in my shop that's going up and down to the International Space Station.
That is so cool.
But it's neat because, kind of going back, talking about the stuff that you're really good at versus stuff I'm not good at. So I sucked at Etsy, but what I am really good at is process development and building processes that are repeatable and scalable. So everything from manufacturing cutting tools to doing those whiskey ice cube trays. So I had a fixture that made about that's another 200 of those parts at a time. Really?
So that's another key element, scalable.
Yeah.
If you want to do a whole bunch of 3D projects, number one, it takes a lot of time to cut the 2.5D type of projects. And number two, you got to find a high-end market for that.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, because it takes so much time on the machine. Okay, so
with that being said, I do a lot of work with other companies it's industrial work. It's not Etsy, it's not making signs like this. These are faceplates that are going into another product that's more industrial. I also do a lot of laser work for a company called Vertra. And they do a lot of simulated training simulators for military and police, and it's all laser work. So, but again, it's those big repeatable. There's a part number, there's a blueprint. I have to make it to print. I have to provide inspection reports. So it's totally different than doing the woodworking, but it's scalable, it's repeatable. It's the same part number. That part number will never change unless there's a rev change, and even if it does, it's something minor. And so for me, I feel like a lot of the type of work I like doing is that repeat type work.
Right.
Some people hate it. Some people think it's boring.
Well,
like
that's
production,
one of the aspects about business is if you want to be business, you have to be prepared to be scalable, which means you have to be prepared to be a little boring. That's you have to be able to step out of your creativity. Once you get something like this built up, you're doing the creative aspect, but after that, you're just cycling it through.
Once this is done, I run this same program over and over. And every time I do it, I always continually look for, so working as like a quality engineer, like the AS9100 standard requires you to constantly be looking for like continual improvement aspects. And so all that stuff that was drilled into me when I was working in that industry, it kind of followed me here. So I have that same mentality whenever I'm building something that is scalable or repeatable.
Right.
And it makes it more profitable. And so it's funny, when I first bought the Nova 35, this one job paid for that machine, one purchase order, literally paid for the machine.
That's sweet. That's really cool.
So
I don't want to focus in on one machine. If he has a laser, he was able to do it. You can do the scalable thing with any machine. It's not the point of, okay, let's get a laser item. It's the idea of scalability and the types of markets that you can find.
Right.
So how did you land an industrial market? This is B2B. So that stands for business to business. So my business is what we call B2C. So it's business to consumer. Your business is a little bit of business to consumer.
Yeah.
You're doing direct to consumer, but you're also doing to business. So IDC Woodcraft has all your Jenny bits on our site because there's such a good pairing, and we've talked for a long time. You're growing, but so how did you land something like this, which is
again, it was just being connected with other small business owners in the valley.
Okay, so it's networking again.
Just networking.
It's getting your name out there.
Yeah.
And letting people know what you do. This is why, like I say, if you're on Facebook and you don't have like a network, just make stuff and put it on Facebook. Just show people what you make. Make something for your wife and say, hey, you know what? Put it on your Facebook account. Make a couple things for your friends and ask them. That's the other thing. Ask. Show people what you got here, right? Just I'll give this to you. It's a gift from my heart, but I also want to build a business. Can you help me out and just throw this up on your thing? You don't have to ask people to do business. Just say, hey, look what my friend gave me. Right? And what that does is that stirs up thoughts in other people. Mm-hmm. So many of us have had people ask, hey, can you make this? Can you make that? The one thing not to do is get yourself so strung out with so many different types of projects, unless you're just learning.
Yeah, well, and at the beginning when I was learning, I was kind of strung out on a lot of those different projects, but I loved it because I was figuring it out, and I'd make a mistake, and then I would like, oh, this is how I do it, or I'd go and like watch a video and then I'd scrap like 3 different signs before I like figure it out. But it was fun. I loved doing it. Now though, just because I don't have the bandwidth, a lot of times, I'll still do some projects here and there, like woodworking projects for people. But now, because I'm so connected with the maker community, when people come to me, I just give the work to somebody else. I call up my buddy and say, hey, are you interested in this? If so, I'll get you guys in contact.
There you go.
And so now I'm just kind of just helping other makers, I guess.
I talked to some guy. So he buys the Beast, the roughing bit. And he said, I don't need anything else. So he is making thousands upon thousands of these wooden inserts for boxes to position a product. So it's all just a rough cut.
Nice.
Right. So he just has the chipboard. I don't know what you call that stuff.
Like particle board?
It's not particle board. It's the wood chips that are all mashed together.
Oh, like OBS?
Yeah, OBS. And so he just rips thousands of these things out over and over. There's no cleanliness needed to the cuts. It's strictly a holding thing, and a company buys them from them.
That's so I knew somebody did something similar, but they were making the wooden things that go on the tubes of packaging.
Okay, you're off camera just a little
Oh,
bit.
sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was making all of those little wooden caps that go on the big tubes. So like if you buy metal from like McMaster-Carr or whatever, it'll come in a cardboard tube with wooden ends that are stapled. He's making thousands and thousands of those wood circles.
I talked to that guy.
Yeah, I can't think of his name now, but
yeah,
it's been a while since I talked to him.
Cookie cutter and those things out. I think he had a what's the red machine? Legacy. If memory
serves. Remember the
but
machine.
Yeah, it was just over and over and over and over again. So it's not the beauty of getting into the industrial stuff is when you get in the door, they're going to work with you with pricing, but the beauty of that is it's production, right? So you offset the price. You're not making as much money per product, but you're punching them out.
Yeah. Making it up in volume.
Yeah. There's a couple of questions out here. One is from Ellen. She says, I have a part that is requiring a 2mm cardboard backer. Someone suggested a drag knife. Is there other options? I've not worked with a drag knife. That's 2mm. That's pretty thick for a drag knife. Well, no, drag knives can cut through that if you set up right. People cut leather with drag knives.
Yeah, it'd probably score it and then maybe break it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she's trying to cut all the way through.
Yeah, that's
again, a laser is another really good option for that.
So Ellen's got the long mill. That's what she's built her business on. I think she's working up to the alt mill. She wants to get that now.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe, hey, Julianne, is Ellen going to be in Texas? No. Oh, too bad. Ellen and Liberty like this.
Awesome.
We're at the VECTRIC show. All right, Screaming Goat. Any network recommendation ideas is real estate meet and greets to get your business out there. So the real estate gifts. The realtors like to give the gift when they close on property.
Yeah.
It's so often cutting boards. If you can step out of the cutting board space and do something that's as prominent, but like,
I mean, I even did
a monogram maybe.
Yeah.
For the front of the house.
But can you go back to that question again? Was she asking for ideas on networking, or was she asking for?
Oh, you know what? I knocked out her question from the queue, so Julianne will have to find it.
Oh, that's okay.
Bring it back there. I can't read it. So.
Yeah. Any network recommendation ideas? For example, real estate meet and greet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
There we go.
One thing that I've done a couple times here, and it was a lot of fun, is we had maker meetups, and I would just go out on Facebook, and I was like, hey, we're going to be planning something here at the shop. I would go around and I talked to a couple other local like wood companies. So like Woodworker Source came out. They were a speaker. They had a guy come out. They talked about different wood species and machinability for CNC routing.
Okay.
And it was cool because like when I said, hey, I have this idea, I want to have a maker meetup, invite all these people, come down, would you want to be a part of it? And they were super excited. They even sponsored it. So they gave away like 3 different gift cards that we were able to like raffle.
Yep.
They had a speaker come down to talk about different woods. And then it's like when they heard about it, like I talked to other companies that I worked with like really closely, and they had the same idea. They're like, hey, that's great. And so then Onefinity sponsored it, and then like another company sponsored it. And before you know, there was like, and Scott can attest it, there's probably 30 people here on my very first like maker meetup.
Wow.
And 30 people doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have a really small shop like this, it's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. So I just want to make we're at like 20 after, but I want to make a note to Julianne. So this is where we'll take a drink. Julianne, you remember yesterday we had that one meeting, and I said, put something with stars all around it, flashing lights, to make sure that we talk about it. do the same thing for Maker Meetup and just ask me about it. So
they're awesome.
Yeah.
We've done it a couple times now, and it's a lot of fun. So, but it's neat because other companies like getting involved, and so for me, that was a excellent networking thing that didn't even really cost me a lot of money. I think I bought 2 dozen donuts, and I bought some K-cups, and I had coffee and donuts, and then the rest, it was just everybody came together.
The rest is just we're here to talk shop.
Yeah,
right?
And so it was a lot of fun because I gave a demo and I showed them how I make a bit, and then they had the talk about wood and workability or whatever, and then after that, we all went to Portillo's and had lunch, and that's all it was. It was just a time of like woodworking fellowship. It was great.
Okay. So I would like to know in the comments some of the ideas and thoughts that this conversation has inspired for some of you who are watching, who have been wondering what to do with working to get into a CNC business. Because this is really what it's about. This is when you said mastermind, the idea of a mastermind, the philosophy behind a mastermind, first of all, what it is, it's when 2 or more people get together. Jesus talks about this in the Bible, right? When 2 or more people get together, it's what does he call it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I know it's in the Bible somewhere.
Well, there's a verse where it says, "Where 2 or more gather in my name, I'm there in their midst."
Okay, yeah. So well, it's the same principle. When 2 or more gather in my name, it creates like a third spirit in the Bible, right?
It has that synergy.
Yeah, it's got the synergy and creates like what they in business, the mastermind is the same thing, and it creates like a third mind. And masterminds are amazing because it's like ideas are flowing and it creates that synergy, and you start to get ideas. You'll say something to me and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, what about this, and that person will go, oh, wait a minute, I can do this. Before you know it, you have product ideas, you've got contact ideas, you've
marketing.
got totally marketing ideas, totally new things to do that you never could figure out on your own. So masterminds are amazing, and actually I want to build a mastermind. So, Julian, make a note of that too.
Well, you've been talking about that for a long time.
I have been.
Yep.
But, I have been. I've been focused on the IDC Woodcraft. I got it to where I wanted to get it. My vision, the first level. Now I've got. There's like a level 2 and a level 3 that I need to hit. So this is the idea of building much larger businesses, but that's for another day. So I would like to know what you folks got out of this. So that some of the takeaways. So Dave said how to establish maker organizations might be a good topic. Yeah. You know what? With that, you just find people in your area. So Kyle, in his VECTRIC course, this is something I got to do too. In his VECTRIC course, Gary Lynn has been asking me about this all the time. He's on here to create a way to find out who's around you, right? And so Kyle in his VECTRIC course has that. And so you find people in your area and just start making contact with them and build a meetup and get some coffee and donuts. That's all you need.
You know what? Some of to this day, some of probably some of the best friends that I have came from people who literally called me up and they're like, hey, this sounds really weird. I know we're talking on the internet, but I just got a brand new machine. I've never ran one before. Can I come to your shop and see yours? Can you show me how you use it? Can we talk about the programming? And just being willing to be like, I'll make time for that. And since I've done that, there's been several friendships that have started from that go well beyond just making stuff on a CNC machine. It's pretty incredible.
You know what's cool about that is, so someone in my town, he's been on here, Terry. He got the alt mill a month and a half ago. Man, just dove right in and started making really cool stuff. But as it turned out, as he's going to start making some product for me that
Awesome.
we will sell.
Yeah,
and
nice.
and yeah, and it's tooling, so it's taking it above woodworking. What else do we got here? Yeah, so Ellen says, put yourself out there. She said there are many times you have to wear many hats. Stay the course. Yeah, Ellen's well experienced with this. Stay the course and stay focused and reach your goals. Put yourself out there. Let people know you are there. Yeah, you got to get eyes on you. Here's what I do in the background for me is I take time to know what I want, and then I focus on that in my mind. This is one of the reasons why I'm on this actual road trip right now, is because I got to that plateau and I'm like, what's the next step? There's this quantum jump. Doing this is a quantum jump for you when you got your first machine, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so
For sure.
my quantum jump was getting, starting IDC Woodcraft, and then growing that business. There were several jumps in that, but now I'm at that point where I have to change my way of thinking to take the next jump. And in order to take the quantum jump, you have to change parts of your identity. That's really hard to do because we're so attached to who we are.
Right.
That we don't want to let go. And that's why mentors are so important, because mentors will show us you are still stuck in who you are. What got you here won't get you there. It's what you are now that got you here, but it's the exact thing that will keep you from going to the next level. The exact thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like a major step out of my comfort zone, but it's I've had to pull away to unidentify myself with what I've been attached to.
You had to find that second cactus.
That's the second cactus. So let's finish up the cactus story real quick. So what had happened was I took several trips out west after my wife passed away. Then right after that, Mom passed away. Then right after that, my best friend got cancer and he passed away. Right. And so all these people dying, that was stripping out my identity. Spouse identity, best friend, mom. I was an emotional train wreck. But I realized then when my friend was dying, he said, if I could do it again, I would have lived in Sedona. That's what his exact words, it was 2 weeks before he died. But because I was so raw, that went right through me. I said, I will never say those words on my deathbed, ever. Right. And so that set me in a whole new direction. Work became secondary. All the things I didn't do that I was afraid to do in my life needed to get done. So I would quit work and I would go travel. I became an outdoorsman. I mean, I was rough hardcore out with my Bronco out there. I got my bed set up in the Bronco.
True.
Right? I'm sleeping in my car. I love it. I'll park somewhere. I'll make cowboy coffee. But that's not my core identity anymore. Anyway, so I lived that out for about 7 years as the outdoorsman. Right, I knew work would always be there, so I could quit work as long as I had some money to fly on. But once I took that, the last trip was when I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail.
I don't even know what that is.
You know what the Appalachian Trail is?
I do.
Okay, so Appalachian Trail is a 2,100 mile trail. It goes from, I think, Georgia all the way up to Maine. It's a hiking trail, and some people hike the whole thing. It takes 6 months. So the Pacific Crest Trail.
I think they've done documentaries of people training for that.
Yeah. The Pacific Crest Trail is the West Coast version. So it goes through the mountains of California, Oregon, Washington. And so I went to hike that trail. I did 650 miles of it, but that's long enough to disconnect from society.
Yeah,
And there's no rules out there. All right, but it gets really raw, and when you're living that, it's a completely different lifestyle. You're in the dirt all the time. You walk, eat, shit, and sleep, and get to know yourself, and get to know other people. Right? That's.
So did you encounter a lot of people while you're on these trails?
Quite a few, yeah. I made some really good friends, and so there's a whole culture, a whole separate culture of long distance hikers. It's not like if you went to the John Muir Trail, which is a 200-mile trail, it takes you 2 weeks. You're not in the culture. It's when you're living it, your lifestyle. But anyway, so when I finished hiking that trail, that was really a heart journey for me. And that's when I realized I wasn't an engineer anymore. So I was, my first 15 years, I was CNC machinist. Then I became an engineer. And after that, I didn't know what to do. Didn't know where to go. So I just went back to where I lived and got a job at my last company. This is before this Cactus thing. And so I was at the company for about a year and a half, and I just felt myself going down, 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 because I was trying to plug myself into an environment that wasn't my identity anymore. And I got so low, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I got so low that one day I went to my closet, got my pistol out, loaded it, and put it to my head. All right. And I got my Ruger 9mm pointed at my head. And it hit me, because I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care who bothered, but it hit me. It said, what did stop me was the legacy that you were going to leave your daughter, of what were you going to leave with her? That question of why did he do that? Why did he leave me behind? And I with that, I couldn't do it. So I put the pistol down. I walked to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and I said, I don't know what got me here. I'm crying. And Paul Miles, I don't know what got me here, but I will never be here again. And that started the journey of knowing that the engineering had to go. My whole identity had to go, that I created, the outdoorsman, whatever it was. There was something bigger for me.
And is that when you came down to Sedona?
Yeah. So
shortly after.
Yeah. So I knew that the job had to go, and I knew I had to uproot myself completely. It was tough. I finally quit my job, and that last week I was at the job. So this is when I became psychologically unemployable. All right. I knew when I was going to quit the job that I would never go back to work, a 9-to-5 job again. And I didn't have maybe $80,000 in my name, including retirement. But I was never going to go back to work. So, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had to get out of there. I had to open up that mental space. So last week at work, I'm at the computer, company's paying for me to do nothing at this point.
Right.
And I'm going, where am I going to go out west? Because I knew I was going to take a drive again, but I didn't know where to go. And that's when this cartoon cactus hit me. It's that the saguaro cactus like you see in the Roadrunner.
Right.
And I thought that was the dumbest freaking thought on the planet. Where the hell did that come from? I blew it off. And so that was my last week. And I'm at home. I bought a trailer. I loaded all my stuff in my trailer. I was going to park at my brother's farm. I just hit the road. No. It was like going into the abyss. All right. And I'm sitting at my table as I'm packing up my house. And I'm going, where the hell am I going to go out west? And that's when they hit me. Go to Arizona to see a cactus. And I'm going, this is the stupidest thing on the planet, but okay, fine. I got no other itinerary. I'll go to Arizona to see a cactus.
It's hot here. Why would you want to come to Arizona?
I just followed the impulse. I had nothing else to go on.
That's awesome.
All right. And
so you did it. So you followed the calling. And then
it took
what
me
happened?
5 months. My road trip to get to Saguaro National Park, which is down here, which I'll go to tomorrow.
Yeah. It
was like spaghetti through the United States. Right. But it was a heart journey. All these different places I went to, I just followed my impulse daily. I had no idea. That morning I'd get up, I'd look at the map and say, okay, I'll go there. And just camp out, find all, the
And that was back before you could throw it on your phone and get GPS. So you actually had to bust out the map. And
well, you had GPS, but I didn't want that. All right. We had Google Maps and stuff. But every day I just followed the impulse, and it was a heart journey. So I'd stop at places, go, something would happen. I finally got to Arizona, and I was getting pissed. I was coming down 17, right, which is from Flagstaff to Phoenix.
Yep.
And I started seeing this cactus run. I'm getting pissed because I didn't want to see the cactus until we got to Saguaro National Park. So I'm keeping my eyes there. And so I finally get to Saguaro National Park, which is where all these cactus are. And I'm in the middle of the park, and I'm looking around, and I'm going, what is this? It's actually making me start to feel like I'm going to tear up. There's something here. And then it hit me. And what hit me was so strong. It was, if you follow your vision, no matter how small, and never let go of it, you will be rewarded 10,000 times over. Right. And so that journey was me. I let everything go. I'm driving. I'm scared. I wanted to go back to the security of the 9 to 5 and people's rules and live in the box. And
I just think it's funny because like everybody says like, oh, I would love to go on a huge road trip and just like live off the road for like months and months. Yeah. But I don't think most people have enough like willpower to actually do that. Like, but you did. Like I think I could do it, but I don't know if I could actually do it.
I think we're all called in our own way.
Yeah.
Right. Mine was a heavy call because what I've found out of all the things I've been through and of the journeys I've been through, the pains, my wife and my brother holding a gun to my head, at 40 when I'm sitting there depressed, working an hourly job, no family, and it hit me. No one's going to give you a silver platter. No one's going to hand you the silver platter. 11 days later, I was full-time college while I was working full-time. Met my wife shortly after that. But this was your journey as you going when you first bought your first machine, and we talked quite a bit on that.
There was a lot of thought, prayer, consideration, crunching numbers. Really just kind of took the leap of faith because I didn't know exactly how I was going to go. So full disclaimer, yes, I've worked in the manufacturing like world forever, like almost my entire adult career, but I'd never ran a grinder until I bought this, and so even though I understood the concepts and had a good understanding of manufacturing and manufacturing engineering.
I just want to say something. Hey, Julianne, whatever giveaway you're going to do, go ahead and put your hashtag on the banner because we're going to have to knock off here shortly because she's got to get to bed. She's got to get up early. So, folks, put in exactly what you're seeing here. We'll talk to you in just a minute. This is the giveaway hashtag. You just enter it once in the stream as long as you're on the YouTube channel, and you'll be entered into the drawing of whatever Julianne has decided to give away. So I want to kind of wrap up this Cactus story. So that was my confirmation to keep heading in the direction away from the false security and follow my vision. I still had no clue what I was going to do. All right. That's when I got my mentor, Dan Locke. And so someone said something about the dragon, right? The fire of the dragon, so he has that very tight-knit community, exclusive dragons. But I didn't get that for a while. I was mentored under him under other programs. But he taught me we all have an ego. A lot of people have a big ego. And I had a really big ego. All right. So anyway, that's where I had to go through the mentoring. That was hard. And one day but the point of the Cactus was stay on the path, no matter how hard it got. And it got really hard. I
think you should get a neck tattoo of a cactus.
I won't put anything on my neck. But I thought about the cactus. But if you look around my house, I'm very opposed. I've told my team, if you put a tattoo on your face or your neck, you're fired. I will not allow. I don't care what else they do to their bodies. I will not allow that.
Julian's cracking up right now.
To be fair, you did not state neck. You just said if we got a tattoo on our face, you would fire us.
You're right. Don't all the way up your face. She's right. Anyway, so this journey is I am letting go of something else. I've had to confront a new demon, which I've talked to you about privately, but it's working. It's like this is the cusp where the rocket's going to take off. It's kind of like I got a new arrow in the bow, and that bow has been drawing back. and that bow, this trip is now that bow coming to full tension.
That's awesome.
And then something's going to hit and that arrow's going to fly, and that's going to project me into the next level. So that's my story. I'm glad I could have shared that with you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Everybody needs a good face tattoo. Jack, we can hire you to laser it on they'll send Julianne down there.
We'll have Kyle program it, and then we'll have Jack do the laser.
There you go.
And then we'll make this a community event.
Okay, so put in hashtag Holly38 and Julianne, tell them what to do. And then we're going to knock off. I do need to get her home or ability to go to bed so she can get up early. She's got to fly out tomorrow.
Actually, I'm not on the neck.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned about that. I don't care if she gets tattooed. Everybody has tattoos are kind of a normal thing these days.
Yeah.
I appreciate tattoos that have meaning. All right, I've got. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's an arrow, and the arrow is flying up that way, but it's got kind of a ribbon around it, and that's follow your, shoot for the stars, but it's never a straight journey.
Yeah.
All right. That one's the really meaningful one. I'll tell you about that later. So, yeah. So anyway, what are we giving away here?
Fun stuff. Well,
neck
was
tattoos. That's what we're giving
The
away.
tattoos, yeah.
Yeah, an IDC logo tattoo. Yep.
There you go.
We should get those made. We can get temporary ones made.
We can get the Jenny lips and the IDC.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jenny lips.
We'll get the beast, and then he'll have the Jenny lips on his.
Yeah, there you go.
His little cheek.
She's right. She's right. I didn't say neck, on the face. Don't pollute your face. Bugs me to no end.
Ellen
I can
volunteered.
handle little tattoos behind the ear.
Yeah.
All right, but people that are, if they got that stuff, it's such an eye distraction.
So we'll all wear turtlenecks.
There you go.
Right.
So
I like my
tonight
Jenny
we're-
Lip stickers. That's from Andy.
That's too funny. We're keeping it simple tonight. We're doing a giveaway of two different people will get one of our keyhole bits. Hence the Holy
awesome.
38. So
Okay, and I am going to enter as well. So if IDC turns into the winner, then
How many people have put in the hashtag?
we've got 146.
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
So if IDC Woodcraft wins, then we'll do something special.
Mhm.
Hobby Hobo with wood chips. Talked to him on the phone just a couple of days ago, and we'll talk again next. I adopted the
Yeah, that's a cool
Hobo
comment.
lifestyle in 2019.
Mhm.
Bounced around the country for 2 years. Needed to find an anchor and found lasers. And now he's got his first order of IDC bits coming Monday. He's
Awesome.
excited. Yeah. Yeah, it's also just having the experience, If you got something you want to do, yeah.
You misspelled your hashtag.
Did I
You put
misspell?
Holly. You put Holly instead of Holy.
Oh, I did. Thank you.
Sounds like we're
So
gearing
this
up
is
for
why
Christmas or something.
Julianne is priceless. Right, she corrects me.
They say I was
Misspelled by
just
Garrett. Yeah. Well, she's the
noticing.
one that created it. I didn't create it. Yeah, I'm gonna what do they call it? I'm gonna blame shift. There we go. It's her fault.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Rusty,
pretty much
same thing.
on the
Rusty put the
fly.
equal sign instead of the hashtag.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Well, I hope no, I don't use the word hope. That's another thing. I'm really careful about my language. Good luck. They got that.
By the way, that was an automatic response.
Was
it?
it?
Was so funny. Yeah. So Garrett, so this is a true story. Garrett does not use words like I hope or like I wish or like all of those kind of fluffy things make you feel good. Garrett's the type of person like, no, if you're going to do it, get it out in the universe, say it, make it known. Like that is Garrett. That's who he is. Yeah. And so there's been a couple times where just from talking, be like, oh yeah, good luck with that. And Garrett's like, no, thanks, but I don't believe in luck.
Yeah, don't ever wish me good luck. I will push back on you.
And so we've had this conversation several times, and he texted me yesterday. And so sometimes on my phone, if I get a text message, it'll give me like an automatic response where I can just hit a button and it'll just send that as a text message, like, oh, I'll call you back, or like blah, blah, blah. Well, AI was trying to figure out what my response was going to be towards your text. And I accidentally hit the button, I guess. And it was like, good luck, like all in caps or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And of course, Garrett's like, good luck for what?
And then the next sentence was.
Yeah, it was really funny because
the next one was, I don't believe in luck, brother. You already know me about that.
To the point where I was like, all right, I got to call him because this is one of the biggest like texting fails of the day. So.
Yeah, that was a big fail.
It was funny though.
Don't try to get in a business. Decide to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to barrel through it. Just decide you're going to go at it until it works.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, if you're doing it as a side hustle, do it as a side hustle. All right. But just make the decision and don't use the words but. I mean, we use words but don't use try, maybe.
Well, it's just a common vernacular like people say, like it's easy to say, but I think people use it so often that they almost live by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't believe in luck either. I think everything happens for a reason. And if you really purpose in your heart what you want to do, like you will be given those resources to achieve it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're really like that. Yeah. Don't use the word someday. When I hear people say, someday I'm going to do this, and well, they're never going to do that. But let's not even discuss this anymore.
So it's actually funny. And so I don't know if you can see right there, but that has been hanging on my toolbox for months.
Okay.
So on my toolbox, if I can just describe this to you, is like behind I have this machine. Over here I have this big rollaway toolbox with like cabinets and like locker or whatever. And on it, there's an FX7 machine that's been circled and it's been sitting there for months. And it was a reminder. And every day I saw it. And it was like, at that time, it's like, man, there's no way I can actually get that and achieve it. And now it's here. It's like sitting right behind us. But it's just one of those things. It was for months that's been sitting.
You got it circled.
I got it circled.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes with that same philosophy that you were just saying. Don't say, don't hope, like do it, like make it happen.
Yeah, even if you don't believe it, like you did, but you put something there, put it in your environment, and not only that, but you drew on it, right? So you got the energy out of your mind into the real world on the piece of paper. It's so cool the way that stuff works, and that helps build your faith. All right, so where are we at, Julianne?
Good slogan for a slime.
We are at 158 entries. So I'm going to go ahead and let it roll for the first one.
Let it roll.
Let's do it.
All right. Don't get excited until you see confetti.
All right. Let's do it.
Hey.
All right. It's getting slower, getting closer. And the winner. Jason Elliott. All right. Woo! Jason. Very cool. And what did he win again?
A keyhole bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Our 3/8 inch keyhole bit, which is super awesome.
Excellent. Excellent. Are we just doing one tonight, or
Oh no, we'll do two. I'm feeling generous.
Oh, okay.
All righty.
You see what Fred said?
What did he say?
That's what Yoda said. There is no try. It's either do or do not.
Yeah. It is. That's the way it is. When you're going to do something, there's no gray zone. You set it in your mind, even if you don't believe it. The big thing is just having faith, even knowing you don't believe it. If you could put it in your environment, you see it all the time. Something just happens out of that. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't make $10,000 a month on your CNC business. Put it on your thing, on your refrigerator. Just write a piece of paper. I earn $10,000 a month on my CNC business. Hang it up there.
Circle it.
And circle it.
All right. Ready for the second one?
Yep, let's roll
Let's do it. There we go.
it. All right. I think I saw IDC go really early on that one. And the winner is Brandon. All right. That's
Congrats.
keyhole.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
All right, you guys. So head on over, Jason and Brandon. You guys go to idcwoodcraft.com, hit that contact us page, and type in Wednesday winner. I'll need your address. I'll need your email. And yeah. So there we are.
All right. Yep. So very cool. Give the ladies a couple days because they are going to be out of the office, although we do have Dwayne taking care of shipping.
Yep.
But the giveaways, I think, are Julianne handles that stuff.
Oh, I'll take care of them tonight.
Oh,
if they can get us messaged quickly on that contact us thing, I will take care of them tonight so they get their bits shipped out tomorrow.
And that's why you're awesome.
That's why she's awesome.
Yes.
It's time to give her another raise.
That's right.
How many raises have I given you, Julianne?
Hold on. Let me.
You've been with
mine.
us what? You've been with me for 2 years?
2 years, yeah. Where am I at?
She is at 1.5 times what I started her at.
Nice.
Actually, I think a little bit more.
3 or 4, I think. I've got a lot of scribbles on my little paper here that tell me.
Yeah, I would say more like 6 or 7 times. All right. Well, folks, we are going to rock on out. So, Julianne, enjoy your thing. I'm sure we'll message here and there.
Have fun.
And safe flight. Enjoy your steak in Texas. And I don't think
I'll
I'll pass.
see.
Yeah, I won't pass through. If I do, it'd be Friday afternoon. That's a lot of driving to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
15 hours from here.
It's a long drive.
Yeah. So
and it's boring. It's a long, boring drive.
I like boring drives. I believe it or not. These flat drives I've been taking to get down here. It's been the best thing for me. And what were you gonna say, Julian?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm sure that I'll see some of the people in the chat down in Texas.
Oh yeah. Yeah, folks, make sure you see them.
Julianne, tell everybody that we said hi from Arizona while you're in.
I will.
Austin. I wish I could go, but we're gonna be visiting some family. So
yeah, I wish I could go, but I'm still on my time. I'm still giving to me, solely me. So I'm not answering many messages at all.
And the chickens are taken care of. So
all right,
you're good.
They are cranking out the eggs too. All right, folks, we're going to check out. We will catch you next week, and the ladies will give you a report on how it went.
Yep.
Thanks, Cody, for today.
Man, thanks for driving all the way down here.
Yep. All right.
Arizona. Get out the shop.
Super cool. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.